Okay. As I told you before, we will be devoted to the development of the social brain in adolescence. Uh, we will concentrate on the work of Dr. Sarah Jane Blakemore, who developed a new research and a rather new theory about adolescence and learning. So, this is our our adolescent in class. The adolescent is a person who suffers a lot. And this suffering is connected with hormones, with physical changes, with some psychological aspects, social, and also cognitive. So this person who is in distress is in need of a teacher and is in need of a class. So, what we are going to do with this person? Uh, we have this concept of mentalizing, which is a kind of theory of the mind, no, not a kind, but a theory of the mind itself. In this theory that is developed by the developmental psychology, this explains that the ability to understand others' mental states starts in the age of more or less at 4 or 5 years old, and this is connected with empathy, the capacity of understanding how a person is feeling in front of us. Mentalizing studies how the brain uh, focuses in different things. The brain can be automatic or controlled, can be concerned with itself or with other. Uh, the brain can feel through internal or external movements and can be rather cognitive or rather controlled. So, a mentalizing task is the task that focuses on the activation of a precise region of the brain. Okay, the doctor says that it's the posterior temporal sulcus and temporal parental junction. So, these capacities, these abilities seem to be in a place. They are located exactly in the brain. That is very interesting, because nowadays with tomographies and all these radio explorations that are made in our bodies, well, scientific says, all scientific researchers, they say, well, we can find a place where these activities are taking place. So let's pass to another. There is something important as regards the brain, because it is really significant uh, for these concerns with the socialization. So the development of the social brain in adolescence is essential for the formation of the I might say the personality, our personalities as human beings. But during adolescence, the changes are so radical in terms of identity, self-consciousness, the relationships, uh, and the adolescent brain is having such a change in which it is difficult to say if it is going forward or backwards as regards evolution. Because the researcher says that there are differences between a child and an adolescent brain. And they also say that As regards social interaction, children are more adapted. So this is rather new for us because we tend to think that adolescents are beyond a child brain. But in certain aspects, it seems that it is not true. Because why this happens? Because the media prefrontal cortex and the self-referential activity decreases between adolescence and adulthood. So this is also has been demonstrated that this decrease, the activity decreases. So that's why children are so sociable, but adolescents are not so. So some of the possible causes are these changes in cognitive strategies and the neuroanatomical changes with age. Mm? The, what we were commenting previously, this ability that is not clear because the brain changes, and somehow this is distressing our child, our adolescent child. So Uh, the theory of the mind and several psychological studies, they agree on that there are substantial changes in social competence and social behavior for adolescents. Uh, there is a great impact on social, emotional, linguistic, and mathematical development. Uh, and this is connected directly with learning processes. That's why it's very important to us as teachers. So notice that it is also involved the linguistic development. Do you remember the Krashen affective filter? Yes, which says that emotions are connected to language one and learning abstract aspect is connected with language two. So Krashen said that in adolescence, the affective field it is in the middle of learning a second language. So that's why sometimes they say, well, why English? We don't want English, and we don't want to speak in some other language. So uh, it also anatomically exists a reason. That's why nowadays we can say that, well, all what the theory of the mind and all psychology says that about different and critical periods during adolescence is connected also with the development with biological aspects. So let's pass on to other. Well, as a conclusion, then you will read the paper, of course, but as a conclusion, we can say that the structure of the brain is changing, definitely, is still changing in adolescence. It is not a mature brain. Mm? These changes have influence on social interaction. Of course, they have, because if the brain is growing, some parts of them are growing inside their heads. Of course, this is connected with interaction. It's going to stop or to change the way in which it will interact. Okay? So the physical changes or the brain are accompanied by the other changes in puberty that are connected with hormones. So apart from having a brain growing in them, they also have the hormones which are exploded generally. So what happens then with education? How can they focus on learning a language, on learning future, past, first, second conditional, if they are all the time thinking about what is happening to me? What, I, how can I have a class without having this excess of greed sometimes? They are anger. they do things we don't know why they're behaving so badly. And well, and this, the scientist says they say to the teachers, well, teachers, you have take a profit on this. This is an opportunity because our teaching should include more abilities controlled by the parts of the brain that are changing, because this kind of adaptation or modification will help us to move forward and not to stop in um, this problem. Let's say problem, but it's not a problem. It's just a stage in human development. So they say that the parts of the brain that are changing are connected with the internal control, with the multitasking aspect, with planning, and the awareness of social and cognitive skills. So we should produce classes in which all these activities, all these aspects should be involved. Okay, so more or less is very shortly with what Dr. Blakemore tells to us. So now I would like you to listen and watch herself explaining something about this. Okay? So the next video is connected with Dr. Blakemore explaining important aspects of her research.